Hey y'all, Retta Miranda, self-proclaimed queen of dating. So unfortunately, I do not have a very good dating story to share with you today. But with all that said, I will go ahead and share. First things first, I do want to stress how important my puppy is to me. So if you all know me, you know this is Lucky, okay? He is 2 years old. He's 4.5 pounds, and he's a poodle. Y'all know that I take him with me everywhere I go on airplanes and traveling from state to state. He's been to Hawaii and Vegas and Puerto Rico. I take him with me to the mall. I take him with me to the grocery store. So, y'all know that Lucky is pretty much like a son to me in my world, okay? And he's spoiled and I love him so much. And he sleeps with me in bed at night. And yes, I'm that pet mom. I'm that one, okay? So I just want to stress how important Lucky is to me and in my life. I got him 2 years ago in 2020 during the pandemic when it first started. So I'm saying all that to say this. The guy that I went on a date with today, he is not a pet owner. Again, I do want to stress that the guy that I was hanging out with today is not a pet owner, okay? So I have actually been on dates with this guy before, so he is a nice guy. But again, he is not a pet owner, and I am very aware that he's not a pet owner. He and I are very different when it comes to the pet thing. Again, he's not used to it. He doesn't have pets, and I do. So I actually stressed to him how important Lucky is in my life, and I let him know that Lucky is an attachment of me. He's a part of me. So wherever I go, Lucky goes. All right, so the guy actually invited me over to his home today. Again, we've already been on several dates. So he invited me over to his home. Very beautiful home. Okay. So we were watching TV and eating. And I had a piece of food in my hand. Okay. And I put it down on the coffee table for Lucky. Again, it's just a habit. I'm kind of used to the things I do at my home. So had a piece of food, put it on the coffee table for Lucky. Lucky grabbed a piece of food because he assumed it was for him, because it was. And after that, my date got really upset and just irritated, really is the best word. Very irritated that I had fed Lucky off of the coffee table. And the guy was like, your dog just ate off of my table. And again, I'm so used to me and Lucky doing all these things together. So I was kind of taken aback at first. And I was like, oh yeah, I gave him a piece of food, sorry, wasn't even thinking. It's just a habit. If you have some disinfectant spray or whatever you have, I'll clean it right up. My apologies. So after that incident happened, my date seemed very irritated. And then I got irritated that he was irritated, So I go to the bathroom and I come back out and my date disappeared. He has a really nice home, very large home. But yeah, I came out of the bathroom, went into the living room where we were originally at, and he disappeared. And I said, you know what? Maybe he's done for the night. So I respectfully just gathered all of my stuff. I gathered all of Lucky's toys and all his stuff. And I respectfully just left his home. So again, no disrespect of any sort, no doors slamming, no yelling, no attitude. I want to make sure that's clear. None of that went down. So I respectfully left his home and I told him goodbye before I left. I said bye at least 4 times. I really didn't hear him. I didn't know what happened. So again, I assumed he was just irritated and he just left the scene. That's what I assumed. So I said, okay, well, maybe I need to leave the scene as well. Okay. So I left out of his home, and he actually had an alarm system that will announce when the door is open or when someone is leaving. So it said front door open. So I left out the door, and then my date came outside, and he said, "Well, where are you going?" And I told him, "Well, I'm leaving. I thought you were irritated, and then, I'm irritated. So I just figured I would gather my things and go." And he said to me, "So you're leaving because of your dog? You're leaving over your dog? And what happened?" I'm like, "Well, yeah, you just seemed really, really irritated about it, and I don't want you to be upset about anything that I do with my dog because I'm just so used to these things. So I don't want to be disrespectful to your home." And my date pretty much said that I needed to, respect boundaries. And I said, "Okay, I understand that. So maybe it's best if we just leave for the evening." So that's what happened, and I just felt it was best to leave at that time. And pretty much what my question is do you think that I had a valid reason to leave? Do you think that I overreacted? Do you think that my date overreacted? Do you think dogs are deal breakers? I remember when I was inside of, when I was hanging out with my date and we were just kind of chatting and, talking on the couch, he actually asked me if I cared about Lucky more than him. He asked me, he was like, "Do you care about your dog or do you like your dog more than me?" And I remember I didn't know how to respond. I was like, I've known him for 2 years. We bonded for 2 years, and you and I have only been on just a handful of dates. I remember I didn't really quite answer the question. So I reflected back on that conversation we had when we were just hanging out inside of his home, and maybe he was thinking about that as well. I really didn't have an answer for him when he asked me about my like and my care for, my puppy versus him. So anyways, my question is, was I overreacting? Did my date overreact? Are dogs deal breakers? I mean, it sounds so petty and so minor to say, "Oh, I'm not going to date a guy if he can't accept me and my dog." But the reality is, everywhere I go, Lucky is going to be there too. So it might be really, really important if someone that I'm dating actually likes dogs or is comfortable having dogs around or is comfortable with the things that dogs do. I mean, everyone has boundaries, everyone has limits. I get it. But I realized that was the first time I have ever dated someone or been on dates with someone who was not a pet owner. So maybe that changed things a little bit. But let me know what you think. Please give me your feedback. Please comment and tell me if we were overreacting or if we both have valid points, or if we should just go ahead and call it a loss and just move on to people that we're going to be more compatible with when it comes to pets and dogs. All right, well, thanks for watching, and I'll talk to y'all next time.